All right, let's talk about something we don't talk enough about. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen it addressed. What happens if a natural disaster is coming and you can't afford to evacuate? Not that you don't want to, not that you're being, brave or stubborn, but you literally don't have the money to leave. It's terrifying and a very real situation. And it's something that a lot of people face every time a natural disaster strikes. So now let's talk about it, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of truth, because budgeting and financial planning aren't just about cutting out the lattes and paying off debt. Sometimes it's about surviving. All right. Hi, I'm Eva. Welcome to the channel. We talk about personal finance here without shame, without judgment. So, if that sounds good to you, then please stick around. The harsh reality is for a lot of people, evacuating sounds simple until you break down the cost. Gas to get out of town, a place to stay, and that's if you can find a hotel or an Airbnb, food while you're gone, missing work, and there's a chance you're not getting paid, pet care, and that's all assuming you have a car, all right? That's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars you need immediately. And if you're already living paycheck to paycheck, then that's money that does not exist. When you watch the news conferences with the politicians and their advice is just evacuate, you have to leave. Like, yeah, it's easy for them to say they've got money and they're somewhere safe. It's like, also telling people, hey, let's just fly to Paris for a quick weekend. Yeah, sure, I'd love that. But duh, you're stuck between safety and affordability. If you've ever stayed behind during a natural disaster because you couldn't afford to leave, I want to be very clear. You are not a failure. You are not irresponsible. You were not asking for it, okay? You were making the best choice you could with what you have. But now we can plan, not because we're scared, but because we want to have options. And the more options you have in life, the better it is. All right, so what can you do? There's no one size fits all solution, but here are some steps to help you prepare financially, even if you're starting at zero. Add evacuation funds to your emergency fund. And this is different than, the I might need new tires soon emergency fund. This is the get out of town now stash. Start with $5, $10, whatever you can. Just start building this. It's not about shame. It's about having choices when things go like sideways. Try to plan a low cost evacuation plan. Try to know in advance, where are you going to go? Do you know anyone there that you can stay with them? Public shelters, which I know nobody wants, but sometimes you have to. Even make a list of, just making this list like empowers you. Build a go to bag and a budget list. And it isn't just, water and batteries. I use this one, which I had to find stuff. So it's empty right now because they're all sitting over there. I needed papers. Um, in here, all your important documents, everything in here, batteries, a flashlight, so you can just grab it and go. Because God forbid you have like no warning, then you gotta just be able to grab it. I got that bag off Amazon, by the way. It's the same one my sister has, and she recommended it. Um, Cash. Have cash on hand, or because you might not be able to get to the bank. I read one article while researching this that said prepaid debit cards. Like, no debit cards, no credit cards. Not because you have debt, but because if there's no electricity, you can't get to your money. Like, so you need to make sure you have cash if you weren't able to get to the bank before everything happened. Make a list of what you would need to pay for to evacuate: gas, hotel, food. Obviously different areas have different hotel prices. So, just get a range so you know how much money you need to save. And this isn't about paranoia, because I'm not a paranoid person at all. This is about preparation. Talk to your community, your neighbors, your family, your friends, you know, that trusted person. Like, make a plan together. One car can carry two families, possibly. Someone else's emergency fund can help with the escape plan. Like, we are stronger together. Like, I hate seeing the division that's happening, because we are so much better and so much stronger together, especially with differences. The reason this matters is because every time there's a disaster, you always hear like the same, like, heartbreaking stories. They stayed behind, they didn't make it out, they didn't think it would get that bad. But sometimes it's not that people didn't think it would get that bad, it's because they couldn't afford to leave, even if they knew it would be that bad. No one should have to choose between, like, going into debt and staying behind and possibly dying. Like, we can't have that in first world nations. Like, we can't. So we prepare not because we, expect a disaster to happen, but if it does come, we're not powerless. We don't wait until it's too late. We plan now, even if it's just the small steps. Like, and even if you're starting now, you're not behind. You're starting where you are. And keep that in mind. Like, don't add like shame on top of everything else, okay? So, even just small steps will help you. Like, if you never thought about adding evacuation money to your budget, like, now's the time. Even if it's just $5 a week, like, that's not, oh, it's just $5. Like, that's $5 towards a tank of gas down the road. That's $5 towards the hotel you might have to stay at. You know, it's a choice you might not have had before. So think of it that way. And if you've been through this or in it now, I am so sorry, but please know you're not alone. You're not irresponsible. You're not lazy. Like, you're doing your best. You are. And your best is valid, okay? So let's keep talking about the real side of money, because this is important. Um, so I hope you got value from this. If you're in one of the areas that get hit a lot by natural disasters, hopefully you've got an exit plan. And thank you for watching. And somewhere up top is another video. So thank you.